never dated here because I saw vicariously through my roommate how terrible it was. Somehow getting drinks was the replacement of having coffee and breakfast.
There's a picture of Erika Kirk with a ponytail and from her past. That person matches who I saw at Fort Huachuca in the lobby the night before. And she was with that man in the lobby. And that man, he was present.
No one expected this story to surface the way it did. Not through an official statement, not through a court filing, but through whispers that slowly turned into headlines, and headlines that are now flooding timelines everywhere. According to multiple circulating reports, Charlie Kirk's private life may be facing its most uncomfortable spotlight yet, and the reason has left fans stunned. Leaked audio, resurfaced photos, and now claims that Charlie's own parents are being pulled into a situation they never thought they'd have to address publicly. What makes this so explosive isn't just the allegation itself, but who is allegedly pushing for answers. Reports suggest that after a tape began circulating online, raising questions about Erika's past and her connection to someone from before her marriage, Charlie's parents were said to be deeply unsettled. People close to the situation claim the tape didn't introduce new rumors, it intensified long-standing doubts. And suddenly, what was once dismissed as online noise started to feel personal, uncomfortable, and impossible to ignore. Fans are shocked because the image presented for years was one of certainty, structure, and moral clarity. That's why these reports have hit so hard. If the claims are even partially true, it suggests a private tension that had been quietly building behind closed doors. Sources online are now speculating that conversations once kept within the family may have escalated into serious demands, including talk of a DNA test. Not because something has been proven, but because questions, once planted, refuse to stay buried. Emotions, according to these reports, ran high. Some say the family was left divided, torn between loyalty and fear of unanswered truths. Others believe this is less about accusations and more about control, protection, and legacy. And while none of this has been confirmed, the timing of these leaks has only fueled the fire. Because if this was truly nothing, why is it all resurfacing now? As the internet watches this story unfold in real time, one question keeps repeating louder than the last. If everything was as clear as it seemed, why are so many people suddenly demanding proof? The reports did not begin with an accusation, they began with a feeling. People close to the situation say that long before any tape surfaced online, there was already an undercurrent of discomfort around Charlie's marriage that never quite went away. Friends noticed pauses in conversations, family members sensed guarded behavior, and fans who followed every public appearance began to pick up on subtle shifts that were easy to dismiss at the time. According to commentary now circulating, Charlie was said to be increasingly quiet whenever Erika's past came up, choosing to redirect rather than engage. It was not explosive, it was restrained, and that restraint is what made the current wave of reports feel so unsettling. The leaked audio, as it is being described across multiple platforms, did not introduce something entirely new. Instead, it allegedly echoed details that had been whispered about privately for years. People online claim the voice on the tape references timelines that overlap in ways that do not align with the version of events Erika publicly shared. Again, none of this has been confirmed, but the consistency of the claims is what has kept the conversation alive. Fans are shocked not because the tape exists, but because so many people are reacting as if it confirms suspicions they already had. What complicates everything further, according to reports, is the role of Charlie's parents. They are not being portrayed as reactionary or reckless, but as cautious and deeply concerned. Sources say they did not immediately accept what was circulating online, but they also did not dismiss it. Instead, they allegedly began asking quiet questions, revisiting old conversations, and comparing timelines that once felt irrelevant. The idea that parents would involve themselves at this level has fueled speculation that this was never about gossip, but about certainty. Emotions ran high behind closed doors, at least according to commentary from people claiming to have knowledge of the situation. Some say Erika felt blindsided by the renewed attention on her past, insisting that old relationships were being mischaracterized and weaponized. Others claim Charlie appeared emotionally torn, caught between defending his wife publicly and processing doubts privately. The family was left divided, not by a single revelation, but by a slow accumulation of unresolved questions that no one could easily answer. Online reactions only intensified the pressure. Fans began dissecting interviews, social media posts, and old photos, not to prove anything definitively, but to search for context. Moments that once seemed harmless were reinterpreted through a new lens. A pause in an interview answer, a vague reference to timing, a smile that did not reach the eyes. None of it proves anything, yet together it created a narrative that people could not stop discussing. And in situations like this, perception can become just as powerful as fact. According to several commentaries, the DNA test discussion emerged not as an accusation, but as a solution, a way, allegedly, to put lingering doubts to rest once and for all. Supporters of this idea argue that asking for proof does not mean assuming wrongdoing, it means refusing to live with uncertainty. Critics, however, see it as a sign of mistrust so deep that it threatens to fracture the family permanently. This split in interpretation mirrors the divide reportedly forming within Charlie's own circle. Erika's supporters have been vocal as well. They argue that revisiting a woman's past relationships, especially through unverified leaks, reflects a double standard that rarely applies to men. They point out that none of the circulating material has been authenticated, and that online speculation often grows detached from reality. In their view, the pressure being placed on Erika says more about public obsession than private truth. And yet, even among those defending her, there is an acknowledgement that the timing of these reports is unsettling. The question many are asking is why now? Why would these claims resurface at this moment, after years of relative quiet? Some speculate that internal tensions reached a breaking point, prompting leaks that were once suppressed. Others believe external motives are at play, suggesting that political rivalries or personal grievances could be influencing what is being released. No theory has been proven, but the lack of clarity has only deepened public fascination. Charlie's own behavior has been scrutinized in light of these stories. Observers note that he has appeared more reserved, more deliberate in his language, and more focused on family imagery than before. Again, this could mean nothing, but in the context of current reports, every change feels amplified. People are reading meaning into silence, intention into restraint. It is a reminder of how quickly private dynamics can become public narratives once speculation takes hold. What remains consistent across all these commentaries is the sense that this situation is not driven by a single event. It is described as a slow unraveling, where each new report pulls at threads that were already loose. There is no dramatic confrontation being confirmed, no explosive argument captured on camera. Instead, there is tension, hesitation, and a family navigating a storm of attention while trying to protect what matters most to them. As discussions continue to evolve, one thing is clear from the way people are reacting. This is no longer just about a leaked tape or rumored demands. It has become a broader conversation about trust, image, and the cost of unresolved doubts. And while the truth remains unverified, the emotional weight of the story is already reshaping how many people view the situation, setting the stage for even deeper scrutiny as the narrative keeps unfolding without pause. The reports continued to circulate quietly at first, almost cautiously, as if people were testing how far the conversation could go without crossing a line. According to commentary shared online, Charlie's inner circle was already aware that something felt off long before the public ever caught wind of it. Friends have been quoted saying that Charlie was not dramatic or confrontational about it, but observant. He noticed small inconsistencies, moments where Erika's stories about her past did not line up perfectly. Not enough to accuse, not enough to explode, but enough to make him pause. Those pauses are what many people are focusing on now. Fans are shocked because Charlie has always presented himself as decisive and confident, yet in recent years, some say he appeared more measured when talking about his personal life. Interviews that once felt open started sounding carefully controlled. People who rewatched older clips claim they can now hear hesitation in his tone, especially when Erika spoke about her past relationships and the years before their marriage. Again, none of this confirms anything, but perception has become fuel for speculation. According to multiple reports, the leaked tape added a new layer to those doubts. The audio, as described by commentators, allegedly references encounters and timelines that overlap with Erika's publicly stated narrative in uncomfortable ways. Listeners claim it paints a picture of someone who is not as removed from past relationships as she later suggested. Supporters argue that context is missing, and that audio clips can be misleading. Critics counter that the details sound too specific to be random. This back and forth has kept the story alive, with neither side willing to let go. Emotions ran high as the conversation spread beyond online forums and into mainstream discussion. People began
asking how Charlie's family might be reacting behind the scenes. That is where reports about his parents entered the narrative. According to those accounts, Charlie's parents were not motivated by scandal, but by concern. They are described as deeply protective, especially when it comes to legacy and family stability. Sources claim that once the tape started circulating, they revisited old questions that had never been fully resolved. The family was left divided, at least emotionally, by what these reports imply. On one side, there is a desire to trust Erika's word and protect the marriage from outside interference. On the other, there is a fear that ignoring lingering doubts could lead to deeper consequences later. Commentators suggest that this tension created an atmosphere where silence felt heavier than confrontation, not because anyone wanted drama, but because uncertainty can erode trust faster than truth. Erika, according to supporters, has been portrayed unfairly in this wave of commentary. They argue that her past has been selectively edited by online narratives to fit a storyline that benefits controversy. They point out that being seen socializing or having previous relationships does not equate to betrayal. From this perspective, the renewed scrutiny feels like punishment for not fitting an idealized image. And yet, critics argue that the issue is not her past itself, but how that past was described and framed over time. Charlie's position, as interpreted by commentators, appears emotionally complex. He is said to be torn between defending his wife publicly and grappling with private doubts that refuse to disappear. People claim he never wanted this conversation to become public. In fact, some reports suggest he actively tried to keep family matters out of the spotlight. But once speculation gained momentum, control over the narrative slipped away, leaving him in a position where silence itself became a statement. Fans watching this unfold have reacted strongly. Some express sympathy for Charlie, seeing him as someone caught between love and uncertainty. Others criticize the idea of involving parents at all, viewing it as an overreach that could permanently damage the marriage. Social media reactions range from outrage to concern, with many emphasizing that rumors should not be treated as facts. Still, engagement continues to grow, showing how invested people have become in the emotional stakes of the story. What stands out in many commentaries is the repeated emphasis on timing. Why would these reports emerge now, after years of relative calm? Some speculate that unresolved issues reached a point where they could no longer be ignored. Others believe that external pressures, whether political or personal, may have influenced what was leaked and when. No explanation has been confirmed, but the question of timing continues to hang over the narrative like a shadow. As the discussion deepens, people are also examining Erika's public image more closely. Past interviews where she described herself as disciplined and removed from dating culture are being replayed and scrutinized. Critics argue that these statements now feel overly curated. Supporters counter that public personas are often simplified and that expecting absolute consistency over years is unrealistic. This clash of interpretations has turned simple soundbites into battlegrounds of meaning. Through all of this, one theme remains constant in the reports: uncertainty. There are no official statements confirming accusations. There are no documents proving wrongdoing. Yet the emotional weight of unanswered questions has become central to the story. Commentators describe it as a situation where the lack of clarity is itself destabilizing. And that instability, according to those watching closely, is what makes the alleged involvement of Charlie's parents feel so significant. The narrative, as it currently stands in public discourse, is less about proving guilt and more about understanding trust, whether trust can survive doubt, whether reassurance is enough when questions persist, and whether family should intervene when private matters begin to feel fragile. These are the tensions driving the story forward, creating a slow-burning drama that continues to unfold as more voices weigh in and the conversation refuses to fade. As the conversation grew louder, reports began shifting from speculation about the tape itself to the ripple effects it was allegedly causing inside the family. According to people commenting on the situation, what started as quiet concerns slowly turned into difficult conversations that could no longer be postponed. Charlie's parents, described as normally private and reserved, were suddenly portrayed as deeply unsettled. Not angry, not accusatory, but uneasy in a way that lingered. Sources claim they felt the need to understand everything clearly, not for gossip, but for peace of mind. Commentators say this is where
idea of verification entered the picture, not framed as punishment, but as closure. The suggestion of a DNA test, according to circulating reports, was not presented as proof of wrongdoing, but as a way to end doubt once and for all. That distinction matters to some observers, while others argue it is a line that should never be crossed. Still, the fact that such a discussion was even rumored to be happening sent shockwaves through fan communities. Emotions ran high during this phase of the story, at least in how it has been described. Some accounts claim Erika felt deeply hurt by the idea that her integrity was being questioned by her own family. Supporters argue that trust should not require proof, especially when accusations are unverified. Critics, however, say that trust and verification are not mutually exclusive, especially when unresolved questions have been lingering for years. This divide mirrors the broader reaction playing out online. Friends allegedly close to the couple are said to have taken sides, some urging caution, others pushing for clarity. According to commentary, a few advised Charlie to ignore the noise entirely, warning that engaging would only legitimize rumors. Others suggested that avoiding the issue could allow doubt to grow unchecked. This tug-of-war between silence and action has become a central theme in how the story is being told.
Fans are shocked by how personal the narrative has become. What once felt like distant celebrity gossip now reads like an intimate family dilemma unfolding in public. Reactions range from empathy to frustration. Many viewers express concern for the emotional toll such speculation could take on everyone involved. Others admit they feel compelled to follow every update, drawn in by the unanswered questions and shifting dynamics. Erika's past continues to be re-examined through this lens. Old photos, interviews, and appearances are being circulated again, not as definitive evidence, but as context. Critics claim these moments contradict the image she later presented. Supporters respond that people evolve, and that revisiting years-old material is unfair. The tension between these perspectives has turned the internet into a courtroom without a verdict. Charlie's silence, or perceived silence, has only intensified scrutiny. Some interpret it as restraint and maturity, others see it as avoidance. Commentators argue that in the absence of clear statements, people will fill in the gaps themselves, and that is exactly what appears to be happening. Every pause, every neutral response, every focus on unrelated topics is being read as intentional. Reports also suggest that the involvement of parents changed the emotional stakes entirely. This was no longer just about a couple navigating private doubts. It became about family boundaries, generational expectations, and the fear of unresolved truths carrying consequences into the future. The family was left divided not by confirmed facts, but by differing thresholds for certainty. Online discourse has amplified this divide. Some fans argue that demanding proof undermines the foundation of marriage. Others insist that ignoring credible questions can be just as damaging. The debate has become less about Erika specifically, and more about how much certainty people believe they are entitled to in intimate relationships. What keeps resurfacing in these commentaries is the idea that none of this would be happening if the narrative had remained consistent from the start. Critics argue that shifting stories invite scrutiny. Supporters counter that human memory and storytelling are imperfect. This back and forth has no clear resolution, which is why it continues to hold attention. As the reports evolved, speculation began expanding beyond the original tape. People started questioning motives, timing, and who might benefit from these claims resurfacing now. Some suggest political rivalries, others point to personal grievances. None of these theories have been substantiated, but their existence shows how far the conversation has drifted from its starting point. Through all of this, one emotional thread remains dominant. Uncertainty has a cost. Whether or not the rumors are true, the act of questioning has already altered relationships, perceptions, and public narratives. Commentators emphasize that once doubt enters a space, removing it is rarely simple, and that reality is what keeps this story feeling unfinished, unresolved, and emotionally charged as it continues to unfold in the public eye. As the situation continued to unfold in online discussions, the focus slowly shifted from how the rumors started to what they were doing to everyone involved. Commentators began describing a noticeable change in the emotional atmosphere surrounding Charlie and Erika. According to these reports, the relationship started being framed less as a united front and more as two people reacting very differently to the same storm. Erika was
described by supporters as defensive but composed, insisting that recycled narratives from her past were being exaggerated. Critics, however, claimed that her calm came across as rehearsed, adding another layer of suspicion for those already doubting her story. Emotions ran high among extended family members as well, at least based on how insiders are describing it. Some relatives were reportedly urging Charlie's parents to step back, warning that continued pressure could permanently fracture trust. Others believed that avoiding clarity would only make things worse over time. This internal disagreement is what many commentators point to when they say the family was left divided. Not divided by proof, but by philosophy. One side believing trust should be unconditional, the other believing trust should be protected by certainty. Fans are shocked by how deeply personal the commentary has become. Many viewers who initially tuned in for drama now find themselves debating moral questions about marriage, privacy, and accountability. Social media threads are filled with people projecting their own experiences onto the situation. Some say they understand why parents would want answers when kids are involved. Others argue that family intervention crosses an unforgivable line. This emotional investment has turned passive viewers into active participants in the narrative. According to circulating reports, Charlie himself became increasingly withdrawn during this period. Not silent, but selective. Commentators suggest he chose his words carefully, avoiding anything that could be interpreted as confirmation or denial. Some read this as strategic restraint. Others believe it reflects internal conflict. Either way, his measured presence has become part of the story, with every appearance analyzed for subtext. Erika's public image has arguably taken the biggest hit in terms of perception, not because anything has been proven, but because the consistency of her narrative is being questioned. Clips from past interviews are being replayed alongside newer statements, inviting comparisons that feel harsher in hindsight. Supporters argue that this type of scrutiny is unfair and rooted in unrealistic expectations. Critics respond that public figures benefit from crafted images and must accept scrutiny when those images crack. Commentators also note how quickly online sympathy can shift. Early on, much of the concern centered on Charlie. As discussions evolved, some sympathy moved toward Erika, with people questioning whether she was being targeted disproportionately. Then, as new interpretations surfaced, sympathy swung back again. This constant shift has kept the story alive, as audiences remain unsure who to believe or how to feel. Another layer that gained attention during this phase was the role of fans themselves. Some commentators argue that relentless speculation has amplified the situation far beyond its original scope. What might have remained a private family issue became a public spectacle because engagement rewarded escalation. Others counter that public figures invite public interest, and that fans are merely reacting to what is being presented to them. This debate has become part of the story's meta-narrative. The idea of legacy has also surfaced repeatedly in commentary. Charlie's parents are often described as thinking long-term, concerned not just with present rumors, but with how unanswered questions could echo into the future. Supporters of this view argue that their alleged actions stem from responsibility, not mistrust. Critics see it as control disguised as concern. This clash of interpretations continues to polarize opinions. As speculation deepened, some reports suggested that private conversations became more tense. Not explosive, but heavy. Words weighed carefully. Silences stretching longer than usual. People close to the situation allegedly noticed a shift in energy, a sense that something fundamental had changed, even if no official action had been taken. This emotional shift, rather than any concrete event, is what many commentators say makes the story feel real. Fans watching from the outside describe feeling unsettled, not entertained in the usual sense, but uneasy. The drama no longer feels distant. It touches on themes many people recognize from their own lives: trust questioned, past mistakes resurfacing, family opinions complicating already fragile dynamics. This relatability has turned the story from gossip into something heavier. Throughout all of this, the lack of confirmation remains central. No statement has verified the claims, no evidence has been officially acknowledged, yet the emotional narrative continues to evolve as if something definitive has already happened. Commentators emphasize that this is the danger of unresolved stories. Once momentum builds, it can feel irreversible. What emerges from this phase of the narrative is a portrait of tension without resolution, a relationship
Under scrutiny, a family navigating fear and responsibility, and an audience caught between curiosity and discomfort. The story as it is being told now is less about uncovering a single truth and more about watching how doubt reshapes everyone it touches, setting the stage for consequences that have yet to fully reveal themselves. As the conversation reached this stage, many commentators began describing a sense that there was no clear way back to how things once were. According to ongoing reports, even if the rumors were to fade tomorrow, the emotional impact would linger. Trust, once questioned, does not simply reset. People close to the situation are said to believe that the real damage was not caused by the tape itself, but by what it reopened. Old doubts resurfaced, unresolved conversations returned, and suddenly, everyone involved was forced to confront questions that had been avoided for years. Emotions ran high in private discussions, at least as they are being portrayed online. Some claim Erika felt increasingly isolated, believing she was being judged for a version of herself that no longer existed. Supporters argue she was paying the price for a narrative that others created and amplified. They say that no matter what she said, it was filtered through suspicion. Every explanation sounded defensive. Every silence sounded strategic. From that perspective, the pressure became suffocating. On the other side, commentators describe Charlie as emotionally exhausted. Not angry, not confrontational, but worn down by the constant need to measure words and manage perceptions. People say he appeared to be carrying the weight of everyone else's expectations while trying to protect something deeply personal. According to these reports, this internal strain was visible to those around him. His energy shifted, his focus narrowed, and his priorities appeared to center more on stability than on defending narratives. The role of Charlie's parents remains one of the most debated aspects of the story. Some commentators insist their alleged involvement reflects fear rather than mistrust. Fear that unanswered questions could lead to regret later. Fear that silence could be mistaken for denial. Others believe their actions, as reported, crossed an emotional boundary that cannot easily be repaired. The family was left divided not by facts,
but by how far each person believed it was acceptable to go in the name of certainty. Fans are shocked by how unresolved everything feels. Unlike typical scandal cycles that end with a statement or denial, this story has lingered in a gray area. There is no clear villain, no confirmed revelation, just layers of interpretation stacked on top of one another. That uncertainty has kept people watching closely, waiting for something definitive that may never come. Online reactions have become increasingly polarized. Some viewers argue that the public should step back entirely, reminding others that speculation can harm real people. Others feel that once public figures benefit from carefully managed images, scrutiny is inevitable when those images crack. This debate has turned comment sections into battlegrounds, where empathy and suspicion collide in equal measure. Another recurring theme in commentary is the idea of control versus protection. Supporters of Erika argue that demands for proof, even rumored ones, reflect a desire to control rather than to understand. Supporters of Charlie's parents counter that protecting future stability sometimes requires uncomfortable questions. Neither side appears willing to concede ground, which mirrors the stalemate described within the family itself. As time passes, commentators suggest that the focus may shift away from proving or disproving specific claims and towards how relationships adapt afterward. Whether the marriage, as portrayed publicly, can withstand the weight of ongoing doubt, whether family bonds strained by disagreement can return to equilibrium, and whether silence will eventually be chosen as a form of self-preservation rather than avoidance. What makes the situation particularly compelling for audiences is how ordinary its emotional core feels beneath the extraordinary attention. Many viewers recognize the pattern: past relationships resurfacing, family opinions complicating intimacy, trust tested not by certainty, but by possibility. This relatability is why the story refuses to fade. It taps into fears people understand all too well. According to ongoing commentary, there is also a growing awareness that no outcome will feel entirely satisfying. If the rumors quietly disappear, questions will remain unanswered. If some form of verification is pursued, emotional scars may deepen. Either path carries consequences. This sense of inevitability has given the narrative a somber tone that contrasts sharply with the sensational headlines that first drew attention. The absence of official confirmation continues to loom over everything.
No documents have been presented. No statements have verified the claims. Yet the emotional truth of the situation, as constructed by public discourse, has already taken shape. People are reacting not to facts, but to the idea that certainty feels fragile. As the story stands now, it exists in suspension, a marriage under scrutiny, a family navigating fear and responsibility, and an audience watching a private struggle unfold through fragments and interpretations. Whether clarity ever arrives or not, the impact of this period will likely shape how everyone involved moves forward. What remains unresolved is not just the truth behind the reports, but the question of how much doubt a relationship can survive. And that lingering uncertainty is what keeps this story alive, long after the initial shock has passed, leaving everyone involved and everyone watching with more questions than answers. Now that you have heard how these reports are unfolding and how much emotion and speculation are surrounding this situation, the biggest question is what you think about it all. This story is still being discussed, still being interpreted, and still surrounded by unanswered questions. Nothing has been officially confirmed, yet the reactions alone show how powerful rumors and leaked claims can be when they collide with family, trust, and public image. If you were in this position, how would you handle it? Would you demand clarity no matter how uncomfortable it feels? Or would you protect the relationship by refusing to engage with speculation? Do you believe family should step in when doubts linger, or should those boundaries never be crossed? These are the same questions fans are debating right now, and your perspective matters just as much. Stories like this remind us how quickly narratives can form and how hard it is to separate emotion from fact once speculation takes over. Whether you feel sympathy for one side, both sides, or neither, this situation clearly struck a nerve, and that is why conversations like this continue long after the headlines fade. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think these reports are being blown out of proportion, or do you believe where there is smoke, there is fire? Should rumors ever justify demands for proof, or is that a line that should never be crossed? Let everyone know how you see it. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure you like the video because it really helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into trending stories, online controversies, and dramatic situations everyone is talking about. Turn on notifications so you do not miss the next update, because stories like this can change fast.
And remember, stay curious, stay respectful in the comments, and keep questioning the narratives you see online.